Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Napoleon Hill Video Ezine newsletter. My name is Ray Stendall and I'm joined with Judy Williamson from the Napoleon Hill Foundation. And today we're going to talk all about personal initiative and really reaching towards your higher self, your true self. Judy, so nice to see you again.
It's nice to see you too, Ryan, and happy February. Today is Groundhog's Day here in Indiana, and I know where you are too, and we're looking just at a few more weeks of winter, so it's looking really nice outside.
Oh, I'm excited about it too. Well, being here in Southern California, the weather is very nice, but I can certainly appreciate warmer weather as well. So
yes, and soon we're going to be in Malaysia, so that'll be even nicer.
Oh, that's going to be a wonderful trip. I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it too. The topic today is one of my favorites because it kind of talks about teachable moments. And those moments, especially from a teacher's viewpoint, are moments when students can be tapped on the shoulder and given a little bit of advice that may lead them into a better future. And sometimes when we're on the student receiving end, we don't like that advice. And we say, oh, who do they think they are? Why do they think they can tell me what to do? Why should I listen to them? But when we look at the real situation, we might, through an examination of our own conscience, decide that we're not working up to our best capability. And so I guess the message in this Ezine is to help us reach our higher selves or our true potential. And I know you've struggled with that, and I've struggled with that, and many people look at us and say, oh, I could never do that. Well, yeah, you can if you start where we started. And so, Ray, why don't you tell us a little bit about the progression toward reaching our higher self? I think that would be a good way to begin.
Sure. Well, just on the comments on teachers, I've had many great teachers throughout my scholastic career, whether formal or informal. And I think really at any point that you are in your life, you should be open to a mentor or a coach or a trainer or somebody who's getting better results than you in some aspect of your life that you want to emulate or model. I remember back when I was in grade 11, I had a teacher, Mr. McGinnis, and he was my math teacher. And I just really seemed to perform really well under his guidance, and I remember changing a lot of my curriculum around in the next year just to be able to have him as my teacher. And well, he's long gone now, but he certainly made a difference in my life. In terms of the progression, I think that the biggest thing that we need to be aware of is that we don't know everything, and even when we start to think we know everything, we really realize how much we don't know, and to be open to having a relationship with a mentor, a teacher, a coach, somebody who is willing to share with us, and then also realize that we can't become an energy vampire relative to that person who's sharing of themselves. Otherwise, they won't want to share with us anymore, and we'll lose that relationship. So I think that's an important key point. Once you have identified what you want to learn, why you want to learn it, identified who's getting those results, then approach them, but don't be an energy vampire. Those are some key things I wanted to share. How about you?
So that term of energy vampire is rather a new term, but I think it's very real because we all understand that when we're in the company of somebody who just keeps drawing information out of us, it's very tiring on us. And even though we might want to share some very good ideas, we get to the point where we're exhausted and they're fulfilled, and we're saying, I don't feel so great about this. So I think sometimes it has to be a mutual give and take. When you're in school, sometimes teachers can be a little blunt and a little abrupt and a little tired as well, and maybe say something not exactly appropriate to what a student wants to hear. But the student needs to go back and say, what was the message in there that I could take with me and use to improve myself with? And I think if we stay on that note and say, there's a kernel of truth here. There's a seed of something that's my potential. And if I look to what that person was telling me, I could maybe fulfill a dream that I haven't even thought about for myself. And, that's one thing. But I agree with you. Energy vampires are those types of individuals that keep asking us, what's the next step? What's the next step? What do I do next? And as a mentor, a coach, a person who's a teacher, we want them to take their own steps after a while.
Right. And something you said that I think is really important to highlight is that quite often a mentor or a teacher or a coach is able to see something within ourselves that we ourselves cannot see. And because, it's kind of like being too close to yourself. It's like identifying the trees from the forest or the forest from the trees when you
Yes.
are so close to yourself. And quite often, I think a good teacher can highlight that for a student or a mentee, and the mentee knows that there is that sparkle of potential, and they're excited and they want to improve. And but the trick is being able to follow through. And actually, I think a lot of times mentees do not really fully appreciate the advice that they get and don't follow the advice that they get, even though they see that person is getting the results they want. So it's kind of like doing things the way you've always done them a lot gets you the results you've always gotten. And now you have somebody who's sharing a different way of doing things, and then you don't follow that different way, and then you're wondering why you don't get those results. So I think it's important that when you do decide to follow a mentor and a mentee, keep an active mind, of course, evaluate what they say, but do consider seriously doing it, because that's the results you want to get, right?
I think that's important, and it seems so self-evident, but yet people oftentimes take the message but do not act on it, and then they wonder why they're in the same position. The guest columnist today, Ken Cadeau, is from Brazil, and he wrote a wonderful guest column about his teacher who always challenged the students when they turned in an exercise or a work assignment by asking them, is this your very best work? And if it wasn't, the student was to take it back and then resubmit it as his very best work. And oftentimes, I think we all have to say, no, it's not my best work. I just did it to fulfill the requirement. And by fulfilling the requirement, that just keeps us in place. It doesn't move us forward. And so, yeah, what you said was, if the advice is there and you heed it, you also need to take action on that advice, and rather than just put it in your vault in your mind and say, well, that was a nice comment, but you need to do something with it.
And then, another thing you just mentioned, which I want to highlight, because I think it's really important, is the role of a teacher, a coach, and a mentor is really to hold the student or the mentee to a higher level of performance, a higher level of expectations, because quite often those expectations that we're talking about are outside of the person's comfort zone. When it's outside the comfort zone, you're uncomfortable, so therefore you keep gravitating back to the results you've always gotten, and then you keep getting those same results. So as you interact with a mentor, a good mentor will hold you to higher expectations, and that's going to help drive you and support you as you move forward.
Mm-hmm. It's like the Pygmalion study that they did a few years back in I believe it was New York City, where the teachers were told that they were the best teachers and the students were told that they were the best students, and they were put together, and lo and behold, they had the very best results. And of course, when the teachers were talked to afterwards, they said, well, we're the best teachers. And then the students said, we're the best students. And the researchers said, well, no, not exactly. We told you that you were the best teachers. And they say, oh, well, we understand. We had the best students. And they said, no, we just told you they were the best students.
Right.
But the expectations determine the results. And you see that in a lot of movies today, because if people are held up to higher expectations, they do achieve, because they want to fulfill that idea that someone has of them in their mind's eye. It's just a good way to be.
So the expectations you set for yourself, or the expectations you are willing to live up to that others set, ultimately, I think you rise and fall to the level of expectations that are being set, whether you set them or somebody else sets them. That's, I think, a very important factor for individuals to realize, that if you want to get better results in your life, start with setting higher expectations of yourself.
That's a very good summary, and I like it. I think that's the whole moral in the story, is be willing to set those notches just a little bit ahead of where you are, and then continually climb that ladder to success.
Sounds great. Well, it was another great episode, and I'd like to suggest everyone who's watching this video to please comment and share, and really share it among your friends, your family, your coworkers. Send it around the company. Let other people benefit from this wonderful Ezine and the videos that we put together. And talk back to us. Let us know what you think. If you agree, let us know. If you disagree, let us know. If there's topics you want us to cover, suggest them. And we look forward to sharing feedback on our next video, and would love to address your comments and issues right up front in the videos, and include you as we build these videos together moving forward in 2012.
All right, Ray. Well, I'll see you next week.
I'll see you next
Thanks
week,
very
Judy.
much.
Thanks.